Hello, Internet. First off, I want to show off my shirt. Yay, it's a comic box. It was a present. I like it. So I want to talk DC Comics. What I got for this month was Green Arrow, Superman, and Wildcats. So let's start with Wildcats. I don't want to. I'm gonna spoil a tiny bit. If you've been reading, this won't hurt you, and if you haven't been reading, this won't hurt you. But I want to kind of point to an issue with the comic. So a lot of this is superhero hijinks, and what's funny is they are playing through with aspects of Wildcats history from the Wildstorm years and arguably a little bit of the early DC years when they were initially brought over. And this is a fresh take. And what's funny is if you know what they're pointing at, it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But taking a step beyond like knowing that it's informed by a previous run, you kind of realize there's not that much actually going on in this issue. Grifter learns that Spartan is a robot. Okay. It's kind of all he learns about Halo security. And Spartan is with Halo, and Grifter is with the Wildcats. They've kind of made this split. Maybe they'll become friends later. I don't know. And that could be an interesting way to build to it, but it's just there's not a lot going on. This is very action oriented, and that's fine. It's fun, but it is a little slow. But this issue starts off with Grifter was thought to be dead. He's not dead. Okay, and we spent an issue without him. And that was good because it gave other characters a little room to breathe. And then he's back, and immediately those characters don't have a chance to breathe. It's like they didn't gain any grounding in his absence, which defeats the point of that kind of thing and makes this less Wildcats and more Grifter and his wild. It's like Grifter and the Wildcats, I guess. But the end of this issue, the cliffhanger is: does Grifter die? Do you see kind of the issue? There's a lot of tropey, actiony kind of things that are going, but they're trying to set up this idea on what Wildcats was predicated on, what made Wildcats special. What made Wildcats special was there was a war that was fought and won, and it was eons ago, but word didn't get to the Demonites and the Wildcats until later. And then when they do, what's next? Um, and then what was next was Wildcats 2.0 and Wildcats 3.0, and like this idea of them taking on new problems and then ultimately becoming the Halo Corporation and doing all these things. And it's about corporate espionage and growing, and like how the corporate world's actually incredibly violent, but in different ways, but it impacts the world in a lot of ways. It was actually a very heady comic with not a ton of action most of the time. And this wants to play off that, but it can't ever stop to have human characters and human connection. I'm gonna be saying that a lot from now on, I think. Um, Green Arrow. Oh my gosh. Okay, Green Arrow. It has been 4 years since the last Green Arrow comic. I didn't know what was going on there. Um, I don't know. It's been a minute. They need to reintroduce the character. There's been two earth shattering, universe resetting events at DC since then, if not more. Who cares anymore, right? Um, but I'm a Green Arrow fan. I want a Green Arrow comic. It's been a minute, and maybe I wasn't as big of a Green Arrow fan before. Maybe I'm a bit more now. I'm stepping it. There's this whole cast here on the back. We'll get to some of them. In this issue, we deal with Roy Harper, we deal with Connor, and then we see Cheshire Cat, not just Cheshire, which That's a mistake. Um, so really, the characters here, and Dinah's there, but they don't really tell us which of the recent status quos they're using for her, because there's been three since that last Green Arrow comic. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's not the younger punk rocker one though. Um, and more to a more classic and more of my understanding of Dinah, which is good because that's where I want Black Canary. And I thought that that other Black Canary series was interesting. I thought it was a fun comic. I just wish they made it a different character because it was a different character. Um, but there's all this stuff going on with the Arrow family, but Green Arrow is off in some weird multiversal sci-fi land saying he can't go home. And then there's all this family drama with all the other arrows and Black Canary going on, predicated, I believe, on what was going before. I've also been watching the Young Justice cartoon, and a lot of it has echoes to what was happening there. Which is interesting because that cartoon was coming off the echoes of when Green Arrow was a little bit bigger, just post Brightest Day, with Connor Hawk becoming Arsenal and yada yada yada. So it's kind of funny to see that echo three ways and the game of telephone going on. But it's a new Green Arrow comic and a reset, and they're already miring it in a timeline muck, and there's multiversal stuff going on. It's Green Arrow. The dude was stuck on an island and he learned to shoot bows and arrows real good to be like a modern day Robin Hood. Street level, please. What are you doing? Like I've said this before, as long as you're telling me a good story, I don't necessarily care about my expectations being broken. No. If you're going to betray that level of expectation and you're not actually going to really even begin to tell a story or set up where we're going next, but just have this smattering of things and characters based on history, but I'm guessing it's not matching completely. And also, if you do the math for the timeline held within this comic, Green Arrow gave birth to Connor Hawk. Connor Hawk is roughly the same age as Roy Harper. Roy Harper had a kid who was stolen from him and now is back as Cheshire Cat, and he recognizes her in a blink. This is all happening in the same issue. Um, and so they're rebonding as she's I'm going to be generous and say young teenager. How old is Green Arrow at that point? This is, and I'm not playing through the years. Again, the timeline established in this comic as they're reintroducing everything. The continuity's already a mess. The whole point of a reboot is to not do that. I don't know. I want to give it a chance. I want to like it, but when they start off on this foot, uh, I don't think I'm going to be ordering it anymore. I'm already done. I'm already checked out. I don't want to be dealing with this. It's not fun to read. And where are they possibly going to go that's going to tell a good Green Arrow story? It's a mess. So then, best for last, Superman's been great. This feels like a Superman book. They're playing a little twist of phrase with Lex winding Superman around his finger. Superman knows it, but Superman was handed the keys to LexCorp and he's slowly being lured in because he literally everyone around him is saying, like, this is an opportunity. Superman's like, it's a trap. And they're like, we know, but think of the amount of good you can do with this at your disposal. It's actually a weirdly eerie way to kind of get back to some of the messages that Superman started with in like Action Comics 1, this anti-capitalism, screw the fat cats message, but playing with all this Lex Luthor stuff that's come and showing like, yeah, money is evil. These people are evil, but also if you had infinite money at your disposal, what could you do? You could affect more change for good than Superman pretty easily but you'd have to swallow some compromise with it. That's that's a story worth telling. There's something there, and there's some meat there. And there are, I'm going to just point to it because there are human characters in this story. There are some smaller stakes. There are small moments, and it's a bigger premise, and it's more clear, and we're only 3 issues in, and I can't wait to see what's next. It's incredible when a comic's done right versus when it isn't, and how you can just tell. There you are. So here's where I ramble a bit more. DC is doing this whole dawn of DC, building up at one character at a time, yada yada. Is that their tagline? Sorry. It is forging the future one hero at a time. Okay, that's pretty close. Forging. Bite my. No, they aren't. They aren't. They had a mission statement, and it's really it's exactly what people have been saying DC needs to do forever. Build up your other characters. But at the heart of the Son of the DC thing, there's some, but not an overwhelming amount of Batman. There's a good chunk of Superman already. Okay. And then and then they're doing the other problem that they do. Whenever they do one of these initiatives, they like fucking shoot their load all at once, and they don't understand pacing at all. So January, Action Comics, a Superman book. Then February, Superman 1. Okay, that was a good one, but whatever. March, Adventures of Superman, John Kent, #1. Okay, Superman, Superman, Superman. And then there's also the Unstoppable Doom Patrol 1, and then Harley Quinn 28. I'm guessing they're just letting Harley Quinn go because it's been successful in this one book and it's showing some diversity. And it's a female character, and it's the crazy, you know, it's not the superhero, it's the anti-hero, right? Okay. Then in April, Green Arrow 1. Okay, so they screwed the pooch with that. I don't know how Doom Patrol did. I heard some mixed things. And then Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow. So now we have a flipperoo. It's not flooded with Batman, it's flooded with Superman. It's the same problem, just a different flavor. It's vanilla instead of chocolate. What a miss. Then May, Batman 900, 135. I'm assuming that's a dual numbering thing, like a Marvel numbering thing. And then the rest are all #1s. Shazam, Green Lantern, Spirit World, no idea what that is. Brave and the Bold, Cyborg, Titans, The Vigil, and City Boy. So there's a few much newer characters, like revivals of stuff that was long past and doesn't have much of a legacy. And then some books that are coming in. And you know what? I don't like too much Batman, but I mean, there being Batman and Brave and the Bold, sure, that's not too much Batman. It's more than I would buy, but I'm not going to say that's ruining the DC line. Um, and there's some stuff in here, and the idea is good, but we just went from January through April being this like drip with some Superman in it to May, just like there it is. And then in June, Steelworks 1. Okay, The Flash 800, Wonder Woman 800. Now, I don't know what's going to be in here, but I did see the solicits and did consider Flash 800, Wonder Woman 800. They're these big, oversized celebration of the characters. They're anthology books, and they're kind of at this point between the end of the last major run for both these characters, and then a new take for the characters that really starts the issue after, or should, because putting #1 in an anthology book does sound like something DC might do, but that is inherently a mistake. Let these celebration big number books be a breather and then have the runs on either side. You should do that. Okay. And then through July and August, there's a Titans book, Hawk Girl. I'm sorry, Tales of the Titans, not to be confused with Titans. And then The Penguin #1. So like there is a Green Lantern, Green Arrow book. Okay. Is there a Legion book? Is there Rebels? Like if you want to play in the old stuff, even if you want to do some new stuff, that's great. But I mean, there's not even like a sleeper book. That was a character that was a big hit a few years ago and that just fell off. Well, why not try to do something like that? Wildcats isn't here. And I guess this isn't the entire line. But I'm just saying, like, they're trying to do this thing that people have talked about, and it's just you see the mistakes already, like from the jump. Like, why can't they just do this correctly? Um, it's just bizarre, and it makes it really hard to want to dive in. And like I said, I've been willing to give this a shot, and I'm getting Green Arrows probably issue 2 and 3 already, and I'm not going to be ordering 4 now. Why would I? I didn't like the first issue. And I don't need to be going down that line. If I hear it's great or if I get one over, I'll make up the difference and jump back on. But I don't know, just tell a decent story